9. Syntyche's kids. The Greys descend upon them, lithe and swift. The one by the car strides toward Errol and reaches out a slender hand. Errol feels something digging at his psyche. It comes in through his temple like a million shattered whispers, a spiritual blade breaking against some innate defense he didn't even know he had. The being blinks its massive eyes, the face gaunt and unreadable. Without the psychic interface he shared with Zebulon, he sees just how alien these beings truly are in this moment. It moves towards him. He leaps out of the way, careful to watch out for the fallen log. Something echoes in his skull, a signal from far-off observers. Protect the doctor. He notices her lying motionless on the ground and dives toward her. Another figure emerges from the trees nearby. It carries some sort of loose wire mesh which it tries to wrap around Errol's head, but he rolls over Lumen's body to get out of the way. Over by the car, he hears Pat's scream followed by a struggle. The aliens vocalize, a low, nasally whine. Animalistic screams left over from primitive ancestry even in these highly advanced creatures. You can feel his mind slipping again. Parts are torn off from his psyche like shingles in a windstorm. He closes his eyes and concentrates. Figures emerge in the chaos. At first, they are vast and imposing, held together with psychic ties far stronger than anything on Earth. They act as a unit, and each component is more capable than 100 humans, it seems. As he enters the psychic realm, they take notice. Long, knobby, semantic tentacles reach out from the glowing nexuses of their minds, wrapping around his own solitary being. Off in the metaphysical distance, he can feel the mesh being wrapped around his head. Static fills his mind, some kind of dampener. He wills his body to struggle. The extraterrestrials are inferior in muscle mass, at the very least. More of those throaty whines as he shoves the net off his face and wedges it against the ground under his shoulder. His attacker tugs, but he digs in deeper, listening to the glowing shape of its alien psyche for some sort of slip in attention. He feels some of the tentacles become slack against his sense of self. It's now or never. He isolates them, grabs onto them like reins, and tugs hard. An inhuman shriek splits his ears. A garbled message comes through to him. Let go, mercy. He ignores it, pulling tighter and tighter until he feels the body slump to the ground. The others let out woeful sounds as the connection to their comrade is severed. Errol scrambles to his feet and lets out an animal howl of his own, blasting a psychic message for them to stay away. He can feel the psychic space being disturbed with protest and discussion in their own hyper-efficient language of thought. Finally, they withdraw their presence from the space, and finally their physical bodies. Errol stands vigilant until nothing remains of their presence and the night is still before dragging Eliza back to the car. Pat yells when she sees the hunched figure scooting across the road. Errol calls back that everything is going to be fine and to help him get Lumen into the back seat. She gets out and takes the woman's legs, then they get the hell out of Dodge. Errol can't help but keep glancing up at the night sky as they drive. Surely they'll be back any second now. It wouldn't make sense for such interstellar beings to give up so easily. And then again, the whole situation doesn't make much sense. Even Patricia can see that. I thought they were on our side, she says after much silence. Errol glances sidelong at her, but doesn't answer. She's having none of that.
Hello, Earth to Errol? What the hell was that about?
Errol shakes his head. Some kind of splinter faction. He doesn't know how or when he got that information, but he knows it's true. He's thankful for that.
Well, what did they want?
I don't know. He feels his heart beginning to pound.
Shit, the Strangelet. Where is it?
The car jostles under his frayed management.
Calm down, Pat snaps. It's in the back, cuddling in Mommy's arms.
He does calm down.
Besides, she adds, they weren't going for that, they were coming for you.
After a few seconds, he nods. I guess they wanted to neutralize me.
Why the hell?
I don't know. They drive on in silence. The moon begins its slow descent down the early morning half of the sky. Errol's mind begs for sleep. He catches himself thinking more than once that the windshield in front of him is some boring movie. His mind gives the go-ahead for sleep, and he jerks awake just before hitting the side of the road. Thankfully, one of these occurrences wakes Eliza from her psychic coma, and she retakes the wheel. He curls up on the back seat to recharge for whatever they have to deal with next. Hopefully there will be dreams, because Grandhead Zebulon owes him some explanations. He dreams this time, not of the homogeneous quark dust of the Hyperboreans' planet of origin, but of a place he understands to be their adoptive homeworld. It isn't really a world, not in the traditional sense, but a collection of asteroids and moons. It's essentially a massive network of space stations in a convenient sea of microgravity. A cosmic Oceania for a race of spacefaring people. On some of the higher gravity rocks, the Hyperboreans have constructed parks that are essentially giant greenhouses. The landscaping is otherworldly, and all the plants have dark leaves and radiantly colorful flowers. Some of the petals are even covered in bioluminescent patterns to attract wispy insects that drift through the low-gravity air like motes of dust in twilight. Errol finds himself standing under a tree with thick, pointed leaves that droop down toward the ground where a small artificial pond has been dug into the rock. Tiny, bioluminescent fish swarm in unified clouds through the water. From within a crevice in the corner, a pair of long, pincer-tipped limbs reaches out to snatch at the little lights. Errol feels a presence beside him and looks up to see Zebulon, this time dressed in scintillating robes of crystalline blue. "This is where you're from?" he asks.
"No,"
says the Grandhead.
"This is where my forefathers were born. I've never been to this place in the flesh."
Errol wonders silently if this place was also destroyed somehow.
"Not destroyed," Zebulon explains, "but far away, out of reach. Many lifetimes ago, this world grew ill. Like mice in a too small cage, our people became suffocated by the very domes that kept them safe from the cold of space. Some of my people emigrated in search of distant worlds, hoping to cure the genetic bottlenecks that ailed us. My culture is an offshoot of those who left."
That's what the breeding program was for. At the bottom of the pond, one of the snatching pincers finally catches a fish. It pulls the glowing morsel into the shadows where the dim blue light illuminates a chitinous face covered in sharp, hungry mandibles. The mandibles wrap themselves around the fish and begin stripping it apart at an excruciatingly leisurely pace.
"Over time," Zebulon continues, "our mission changed. We began to see so many worlds being swallowed up by the very same follies that our people fell victim to all those eons ago."
Errol already understood this, but he waits for the point. Zebulon turns to him. It's hard to see without knowing where to look, but the alien's face seems to hold an apologetic frown.
"I have deceived you," he says. "I have led you to believe that the Hyperboreans who've come to your world are part of a unified front. And that starship,"
he flashes a psychic image of the Titanic vessel parked behind the moon,
"is not a vehicle. It is a nation."
Errol finishes the thought. "And the ones who attacked us on the road, they're radicals." Zebulon hesitates for a moment. Overhead, a large, hairy, bird-like creature appears. It swoops gracefully through the air, scooping up clouds of those drifting insects before landing on a branch nearby where it stares down at the visitors, investigating them with obsidian eyes. Off in the distance, another creature fills the air with whooping calls.
"Yes," the Grandhead says finally, "but it is more than that."
Maybe it's the psychic leakage caused by this alien being forced to use audio-based language to transmit his thoughts. Maybe it's intentional, but Errol knows what is going to be said next.
"The one who leads them," he begins.
"Granny Sin," says Errol.
"Syntyche,"
Zebulon confirms.
"is one of the seed heads among our people. They are the ones whose genetic material is exchanged with that of humans in order to strengthen our meager gene pool. She is half human herself, and as such has never been quite in sync with the popular will of our people."
Errol understands this to be a polite understatement.
"She believes that the results of hybridization are inherently superior to both races," he goes on. "Considering your abilities, she sees you as evidence of this postulation. Simultaneously, she sees herself as having the right to possess and have ultimate power over those who've come from her bloodline. She seeks to indoctrinate you and to use you for her own ends."
"What about the Strangelet?"
"It would be safe to assume that she wants it for the same reason as your Dr. Kite and General Slate."
"Power." Zebulon meets his eyes.
"None of these parties should be allowed to access the Strangelet under any circumstances, and the fate of the world depends on it." The fate of my own world depends on it.
Errol feels himself becoming afraid. He knows the adrenaline will soon wake him up. What am I supposed to do? He protests. What if she comes back? The image is beginning to fade. Zebulon feels far away, but he calls back over the void of space.
Whatever you do, don't let her take away your powers. Don't let her into your mind. And
he wakes up in Dr. Lumen's back seat. He sits up and meets Eliza's gaze in the rearview mirror. Her eyes are bloodshot and rimmed by droops and wrinkles, but there's a fire behind them. Like a revenant kept chugging along past the point of collapse by sheer willpower alone. He sees Pat slumped awkwardly beside her in the passenger seat, lips hung slack and glasses sliding down her nose. Through the windshield, the inky darkness of the night sky is being gradually stripped away by the soft gold of the rising sun. Whatever god or gods could have painted such a beautiful picture, he praised them for some kind of strength.